Hi everyone. It's this week is 6 months since the beginning of this project. This video covers the past 6 months and what was done here. This project is about rebuilding the homestead that was my maternal grandparents' homestead. I apologize for maybe a little bit of wind noise. It's breezy today, although pretty warm. It's about 30 degrees. It's June the 2nd. This project started on the 1st of January. How am I doing? I'm doing well. We've done quite a bit in the last 6 months. I'm doing this for very personal reasons. But ultimately because I want to relive some of the life that I lived here as a child, when I lived here with my grandparents for about the first 4 or 5 years of my life. I want to be self-sufficient, kind of like they were. Of course, with some of the comforts of contemporary life. I am renovating, rebuilding this homestead, not just a home. And I want to talk to the purists right now who would love to see me rebuilding this house to its original specification with clay mortar or lime mortar. People think it's lime, but it was clay, in fact. And maybe kerosene lamps to light up the interior. But I'm not going to do that. I am going to keep as much of this as possible. I have a vested interest in maintaining its characteristics, its charm, so it can remind me every day of that wonderful life I spent here with my grandparents. Having said that, the goal is to become self-sufficient in as many areas as possible. The first 6 months has seen a lot of work, a lot of progress, and without any further delay, let's look at what was done. Thank you. We started with land clearing. We had some trees that had come down. We took them apart, saved as much of them for firewood as we could. We have quite a bit, enough for the next couple of winters, I think. We took some grapevine pergolas apart that were no longer needed. Some of them were in the future chicken yards and they had to be taken out. We also made room for extra fruit trees that way. There was a lot of overgrowth everywhere. We needed to open it up and find our bearings. We invested in a pretty decent wood chipper. We had a pile of brush and we wanted the chips to use around the place eventually. We had the excavator over a couple of times, moving soil, digging for the future duck pond, installing the posts for the fencing of the chicken yard, doing the big stuff that is very hard to do without equipment like this. One of the main areas of work, and quite possibly the most exciting one to me, is putting the land back to work. For this, we started with establishing a compost pile. We had so much vegetation from all that land clearing, although we still don't have any animal manure to add to it. That will come in time, and it started, and the main thing is that started with some vegetables, sweet potatoes, perennials like watercress, put in the existing irrigation channels, and we got a garden going. Those early sunny, warm days of February were so conducive to that. It was a bit early, according to a lot of the neighbors here, the locals, but this climate being new to me, I needed to experiment to see what works and what doesn't work. We got quite a few garden beds going. We put in whatever vegetables we thought we like to eat and that could potentially work early. And it's established. I'm very happy to report that I've been eating quite a few times from this garden. The carrots are looking great. The lettuces are wonderful. The beets are bobbing up real nice, and so are the onions. Potatoes will be coming. Pea risotto is in season. Garlic scapes already happening, and the zucchinis are producing amazingly early. One other very important item is a crop, corn, because I want to have chickens and pigs later on. So there was a lot of land clearing, opening up a field to add some area. Took out fine pergola that was between the fields, and the corn is in the ground, and looking quite well, quite good. I'm very, very excited about it. Another work area of this project, another of the three work areas, is support infrastructure. My grandparents only had one covered space outside of the house. It was a lean-to. There wasn't much left of it other than the back wall of it. I took on repairing that back wall right away. Raised it about 20 centimeters. I figured I needed a little bit more headspace. Also, it wasn't really level. The left corner used to have a stone post that would prop up cable system that would support this vine on the courtyard side. I took it out. I repositioned, reinstalled one of the stone posts. It had fallen down. I changed things a little bit in the sense that the original beam would just sit on top of those posts. I notched them so that I could put the post on a little bit different. I had the local village sawmill cut the lumber for me. That main beam is quite sizable and heavy. The wood is not cured, so it's green, so it's quite heavy. So I did cut some notches on that main beam in order to fit it onto the top of the stone posts, perhaps a bit more securely, I thought. It was quite the task, but worked out quite well. I then hired a local carpenter to help me assemble the rest of the wood structure. It's just so that it would be faster and also to work safely. It took us about a day and a half to put it together. I just now need to get the clay tiles and install them. When the work crew finally arrived, we took on more support infrastructure work. Because if the goal is to be self-sufficient, living from the land, then support infrastructure is absolutely critical. We've done some fencing right away. If we're going to have livestock, then fencing is absolutely vital. Of course, I was working on the house here and there, mainly cleaning the walls of the vegetation that grows on top of the walls, up the walls, and has been growing for quite a few decades. I'm nowhere near done, but I'm taking my time. It's good to give my chance the time to observe and to think about my project carefully. We also built a new stone wall, a double-faced stone wall, so the outside as well as the inside of the wall have finished faces. They're nice faces. This wall connects essentially the fencing on the side road to the corner of the house. I had 2 granite stone posts made so that I can have a side entrance because it's from the side of the house and it goes straight into the backyard. I'm pretty happy with this wall. It took over 2 weeks to build, but for one stonemason only it's not so bad. It's quite beautiful, matches the rest of the stone in the house perfectly, and is going to allow me to enter straight into the backyard from the side roads. I can use it to move firewood straight into the side of the house where it'll be easily accessible. And so the third work area of this project, the house, also seen some work done in the first 6 months of this project. This item is actually part of the support infrastructure as well. And we started with the cellar because the potatoes are going to need a place to be stored once they're harvested, and that's not too far out into the future. So it made sense to get going with the cellar first. So what we did is we built this floor between the cellar and the second floor upstairs to be able to establish a space for our root vegetables and also, of course, for the wine barrels eventually. Not that we are going to have that much wine this year, but we may have some. So there is a space already to accommodate. I also worked a little bit on the future gravity irrigation system, setting up to install the water tank and the house, the third area of work on this project, and the one area that everybody wants to see lots of work being done to. Well, it got the front wall waterproof, the wall that faces the main roads. It saw also the foundation being built for the connecting wall, the wall that's going to connect the two structures. And finally, the big ticket item of the very first, I should say, 6 months of this project, an item that is absolutely crucial to this project. It's part of the support infrastructure. It's the new outbuilding. I didn't show its construction because I don't think that the building of a contemporary structure is particularly beautiful. This building is a multi-purpose building. It's a garden shed where tools are going to be stored, is a workshop, is a power generating utility room, and is a hen house, in fact, multiple hen houses. Here we have the north-facing side of the outbuilding. It faces the chicken run, the bird run. You see here on the left lower corner the future duck pond. There's about 30 square meters of covered surface. I've divided most of it into 5 separate areas. They will be separated with chain link wire and will have individual doors. They will house individual species. The first one on the left is intended for the laying hens, for the hens that are laying eggs for us, and the second one will be for the broodies, for the hens that are nesting, that are going to hatch the eggs. I'm going back to the traditional dual purpose system. There's a few heritage breeds to pick from, and we also have a fabulous little chicken called a garnizer, and people usually keep them to nest because they're fabulous at hatching eggs. They don't have a huge capacity, about 8 eggs or so maximum, but their hatching rate, the success rate, is really, really high, almost 100% every time. And they're also fierce mums. They're great protectors. So there's 3 more areas. Most likely the center one will be for the ducks, and then the other 2 could be for geese or turkeys. I've had them. I've kept geese and turkeys in the past, and I like them, and I may go back to them. We'll see. The bird run is good enough to have a few of each, not a huge flock. Multiple species tolerate each other in a run. It's a little different when it comes to housing. It's best to have individual coops for each species, if possible, of course. Right next to the outbuilding, in this back corner here, between the building and the property wall, next to the side road here, there is this space. We built a retaining wall, and this space, it's going to be just for storing like farming implements, things like the bigger stuff, like maybe plow or trailer, or things that get used seasonally, occasionally, and can just be back here out of the way. Eventually I want to put a roof over. There's a space with soil because I am planting a privacy hedge, as I mentioned before, in laurel, bay leaf, and so it needs soil to be in and provide that bit of privacy that we need. The building has a pretty generous overhang that should protect the individual cages from wind-driven rain. So this is the front of the outbuilding. It faces east. It will have on that corner, on the left corner, it will have the stone trough that we just found as a bit of a little sink there. You see we built a stone base for it. The egg layers will be housed in the very first area of the 5 areas. And the reason being is that it'll be possible to collect the eggs without having to enter the actual chicken run. We are essentially in the chicken run. I've planted a whole bunch of fruit trees here. There's a pomegranate there in the corner on the left. Then there's a fig tree, there's a pear tree, there's an avocado tree, a lemon tree, and a quince. And I'm still gonna plant a couple more trees here. There's room for 2 or 3 more trees, potentially apple trees. I've been careful to leave room to maneuver to the farming implements area behind the building.